Hi everyone, welcome to Pokemon Draft League 302. This video is going to be focused on EV optimization. I guess as a disclaimer, coming into this video, you should have an idea of what role you want to have for every Pokemon. Having phrases such as "I want to outspeed this other opposing Pokemon" or "I want to live a hit from this Pokemon's move" are helpful things to think about as you come into it. This is going to be very heavy. There's going to be a lot of problem statements. I'm going to ask you to try to do a lot of things. I'm not looking for specific numbers necessarily, but I'd like you to think about how you would go about solving the problem. And what's also important to mention is that if you run max speed, max attack on like a fast attacker, like sometimes that's just the right answer. I'm gonna break this video up into multiple different sections based on what I want to try to focus on optimizing. We're gonna start with speeds, natures versus EVs. Then we're gonna talk about speeds, offenses, defenses, and HP. If you just want to jump forward to one, there will be timestamps in the description. Let's start by talking about EVs and natures. So you guys should already know EVs are kind of like points you can put into your Pokemon. Every four EVs boost the raw final stat by one additional point for your Pokemon. You can boost no more than 252 EVs into one stat, and in total you get 508 EVs to distribute to your Pokemon in total. That means that you can run a max in two stats, and then you have four more leftover EVs in something else. Natures give a 1.1 times multiplier to a stat, aside from HP, as well as a zero point 0.9 multiplier to another stat. Uh, because natures are multiplicative, the general rule of thumb is that you want to try to use natures to boost the highest base stat you want to increase. And then you use your EVs to help supplement lower stats. Sometimes you can even combine them to get like the maximum you can have in one stat, depending on what you want. So an example I want to give is for this Blissey. Blissey is a Pokemon that's known to have extremely high special defense and paper-thin defenses. So in this case, this is in Pokemon Showdown, by the way. I ran max HP and max special defense in terms of EVs. And I gave Blissey a plus defense boost in nature, which is indicated by plus, which also lowers the attack. So in Pokemon Showdown, you can just put a plus and a minus wherever you want. What this means is that compared to having no natures and no EVs, Blissey has plus 5 defense and plus 63 special defense. Um, Now I'm going to show you an example of another Blissey. So this Blissey put its plus nature into special defense. The minus is still an attack because Blissey doesn't use attack. But what you find is that if you just invest 20 EVs in defense and 120 EVs in special defense, you achieve the exact same stats as before. 61 through 69, 61 through 69. The difference here is that now you have 116 remaining EVs to put wherever you want. And if you invest that into defense, that means that you are left with plus 34 defense and plus 63 special defense. So all of this to say, where you put your nature and how you distribute it versus your EVs can help you save a lot of like effort values. Next, let's talk about speed. I mentioned in the 200 level videos. Every investment in speed is an investment that you're not spending on offense or defense. Still applies here. What this means is that whether you outspeed a Pokemon or not is completely binary. It doesn't matter if you are 200 points faster than the opposing Pokemon or 1 point faster than the opposing Pokemon. So this means that you want to try to put just enough speed to outspeed the Pokemon you want to outspeed. No more, no less. You can do this by identifying what Pokemon you naturally outspeed, seeing how many EVs it takes to just quite barely outspeed it. And you can also think about like what the advantage is to outspeeding this Pokemon and if it's worth it. So I have a couple tests here. This may seem familiar to you, but question. How much speed should Electro invest to guarantee outspeed? Um, I guess you can pause the video to think about it, but I'll keep going. The answer is zero. Even with a choice scarf in max speed boosting nature, Slowking cannot be faster than a minimum speed electrode. Next, how much speed should electrode invest now to guarantee outspeed? Well, the answer is this amount. So here I added a plus speed boosting nature because speed is electrode's high stat. And with just a little bit more EV investment, it achieves a speed stat of 376. In which Tornado's Therian, without a choice scarf, the max speed is 375. This means that Electrode can afford to be a lot more bulky. It can now run 232 HP IVs, or EVs, I'm sorry. The only case that Tornado's Therian does outspeed is if it runs a choice scarf, in which Electrode cannot even beat at max speed anyway, so it doesn't matter. And finally, I'm going to ask, how much speed should Electrode invest to guarantee outspeed? You can pause the video again, but hopefully you can see that this is a bit of a trick question. This is Deoxys speed. I'm just going to call it Deoxys. Deoxys barely has to put in anything. It has an even faster speed stat. Chances are Electro's not going to be outspeeding this Deoxys. So the next best thing should be the answer to the previous question, 24 EVs with a speed boosting nature. Adding any more probably won't be helpful. Now, this next point I'm going to give kind of contradicts the point that I was explaining, but I did think it was important to talk about speed creep. This is the act of trying to outspeed a Pokemon that is technically faster than you if they don't invest max speed. Going back to the example from earlier, if I'm running Deoxys, I can expect that Electrode won't run max speed of their own because there's no point to do it. So I can afford to both run zero EVs as well as a non-speed boosting nature. However, if my opponent knows that I'm not going to run max speed, in fact, I'm going to run zero EVs in zero natures, then they can try to put enough EVs to just barely be faster than minimum speed Deoxys. In this case, it would be a speed boosting nature with 100 EVs. So this is something that's like a bit of a gambling, not necessarily gambling, but it really tests you to see how much you're willing to get away with in terms of like what speed you want to try to achieve while still getting away with like getting more bulk or more attack. So, in summary to speed, you should try to identify what you naturally outspeed. You should try to think about, is this advantageous for me to outspeed this Pokemon? And if so, how many EVs do you need to invest to get like the bare minimum? And you can think about what the benefit is for outspeeding the Pokemon if you need to invest the speed boosting nature. And again, remember that every investment that you put into speed is something that you're not putting into offense or defense. Speaking of which, let's talk about offensives. So, I guess as a disclaimer, again, like I was saying before, if you run max speed and max attack on a fast, frail, but hard-hitting Pokemon, that can be okay. A lot of the times, that's what I run. Um, but as you do it, I also encourage you to think about what Pokemon are you hoping to hit? How much are you hoping it does? You can get away with not running max attack and transferring some of it to defenses. So as an example that I have here, this is from Pokegame MD. He's a phenomenal Draft League player. And in this week specifically, he brought a special attacking Dragonite. Um, it's actually mixed the offense because he has extreme speed. But he cowed just enough so that Air Slash into Extreme Speed knocks out Azelf, Rillaboom, and Grafaiai after rocks. I believe one of the big points here is that Dragonite has a pretty good special attacking stat, and Thunderbolt allows him to do more damage to Dondozo. And he tries to lean more into the special attacking aspect. Rillaboom, I also believe, has less special defense than defense. So he runs max special attack. but he only runs 24 attack EVs. And I put it into the calculator here. Uh, this is with uh, like Stealth Rocks into account. I believe that was also a part of his like goal. Um, and we can see that air slash into extreme speed is a guaranteed one hit KO. Now, this is going to be a bit of a pop quiz. You can pause the video. This is going to be a lot of information, but afterwards, I'm going to be walking you through how I might handle this problem. But the question is, what are the minimum special attack EVs you need to invest into this Heatran in order to take down max HP, zero special defense, modest, Assault Vest, or Chaladon, with the combination of Magma Storm and Earth Power after one layer of spikes? You can rewind the video if that's confusing. You can pause the video if that's confusing. You don't need to give me a specific number, but think about how you're going to tackle this problem. Okay, we're going to move on, but how I am going to do it is I'm in this Pokemon damage calculator. I'm going to set one layer of spikes, so it assumes our Chaladon is at has taken one layer of spikes. I make sure the level is at 100, max HP, zero special defense, has the Assault Vest item. So I know that spikes deals 1/8 of the max HP every single time. I know that Magma Storm also gets 1 HP every single time. So then all I have to do is go into the special attack and keep increasing the number until Magma Storm plus Earth Power, these percentages in the top left, do a minimum of 75%. And what we find is that the number is 44. So to walk it through it again, spikes take 12.5% damage. Magma Storm does 36% damage. Magma Storm, the trapping effect, does another eighth of damage. And then Earth Power is just enough to KO. That means that for the rest of the EVs, I can put into defenses, which work very well, as Heatran is a phenomenal defensive Pokemon. Next, let's talk about the defensive EVs. To start, I want to explain what bulk is when I'm going to talk about it. Bulk is the number of hits a Pokemon can receive before you get KO'd, which may be intuitive to you. But bulk is calculated with the HP times the defensive stat. So your physical bulk is going to be HP times defense. Your special bulk is going to be HP times special defense. If you want to get general bulk, you want to try to make your HP equal to your defense and special defense. Um, and I have these like shapes here to kind of demonstrate like um, making your health and defense like well-rounded will mean that you have a overall better area as opposed to investing more into like your higher stat. I want to explain this further with an example. So here we have Friolu with a close combat versus our friend Blissey here. So Blissey, once again, has super high HP, very low defense. If we have 252 EVs and you dump it all into HP, close combat is going to deal almost 200% damage to this Blissey. Um, However, if you take all of those and dump it into defense, suddenly the damage goes way down. Um, and close combat does 86 to 102%. Um, and again, this is the same number of EVs. It's just moving from one to another. Um, so the point is to try to invest in like lower defenses or lower HP if the difference between them is very high. I think the benefit to usually investing in HP is that HP is present in both bulk calculations, and it helps you get both. So we have an example of that later. But again, the mindset is what hits do you want to take? What's the minimum amount to survive hits from what you expect your opponent to bring? And how do you mix your HP and defensive EVs in response to that? So let's walk through an example. Again, this is from Pokegame. This is one of the weeks he had in his draft league. This is the build of one of the Clefable sets that he had. He explains that there's enough special bulk to not be too hit KO'd by Sludge Bomb after a Calm Mind, and he has enough defense to live a max attack choice band Tauros most of the time. Well, I was explaining this and just like figure out how it actually works on Reddit actually. I was able to get into contact with someone who was able to walk me through it, and we came up with a potentially better build. I guess I won't say it outright, but um, for these goals, we were able to find another build for it. So I just wanted to walk you through my process as we were going through it. So, to reiterate, the goals is to not be too hit KO'd by Sludge Bomb from 0 special attack Galarian Slowking, a +1 special defense. This is so you can increase getting Calm Minds and you can recover with Moonlight. Additionally, you don't want to be 3 hit KO'd by Sludge Bomb when you're at +2 special defense. This may be something that wasn't accounted for in the initial EV spread, but this can help you, again, continue to start building Calm Minds, get recovery, and hopefully start to do big damage from there. And finally, you don't want to be 1 hit KO'd by Max Attack, Choice Band, Paldean Toriel's Flare Blitz. So let's walk through it. So I have this set here. I put in Clefable and the Slowking. I put in +1 special defense in the left-hand side, and you can see Sludge Bomb does 45 to 54% right now. So if possible, let's try to just put in HP. So you can see at 136 EVs at +1 special defense, Sludge Bomb just barely does under 50% HP. If it poisons, that's okay because this Clefable has the Magic Guard ability to negate the damage. So that would be condition 1 met. Next, we raise it to +2, and we try to make Sludge Bomb not be a 3-hit KO. And I guess as a spoiler alert, you can't get that with just HP alone. But what ends up happening is that we put in the bare minimum to put in what we're comfortable with. So with 200 EVs, Sludge Bomb has a 38.3 chance to 3-hit KO. I believe if it's any less, the chances increase to maybe 45%, which feels a little more iffy. Um, so this is a bit of a risk, but this is a risk that we'd be willing to take, especially with like the Moonlights for the constant recovery. The things that would need to happen is getting multiple high rolls or multiple crits in a row. From there, we can move to Paldean Tauros. I set it to max attack with the animate nature in a choice band. And from there, I already have a lot of HP EVs and is already invested in the physical bulk too. So all I have to do now is increase the defense until Flare Blitz, the damage, the max it can do, is less than 100%. In this case, I have 116. We can see Flare Blitz can do a maximum of 99%. From there, we have 316 EVs invested, and we can put the rest into a special attack, um, which helps Clefable hit even harder. I don't have the additions in special attack here, but it would also be at +2, and it would be more than enough to KO this Tauros. Now let's move on to HP EVs. So we talked about how HP plays a role in both types of bulk, but additionally, HP divisibility can also matter for specific use cases. What's important is that for like passive damage, the HP divisibility will be cut off at the decimal. So if, example, for rocks, if you have neutral coverage against rock, it will divide by 8 and then round down. So what this means is that if you're worried about stealth rocks, you want to make sure your EVs end with an odd number because at that point it would take less damage, 1 HP less technically. This may not seem like a big deal, but especially for Pokemon that are 4 times weak to rock, that means that you can switch in one more additional time. For Life Orb, you want to make sure you end with a HP that ends in 9. That means that for your Life Orb damage, uh, every single hit you do you'll get 1 HP back, basically. For your leftovers, you want to actually make sure that your HP is divisible by 16. That means that you get one more HP every single time. And for the substitute, you want to make sure that your whatever health you have minus one is divisible by 4. That means that you can set up 4 substitutes instead of 3. So, as a big summary, make sure to use your EVs wisely. If you don't know what to do, or like your specified role just calls for it, you can just run max and 2 stats. It can still be okay. If you do know what to expect, you can try to aim for the bare minimum of what you need in order to optimize damage, bulk, and speed. I have another example of my notes here of my Thunderous Therian. This was against, I believe, it was Winston's team. Um, my EV spreads were max HP plus 72 special defense and an assault vest. I decided that my bulk also need to use up my item slot, but this meant that I live 2 ancient powers from Regieleki, even if the first one gets a +1 boost. I put a speed boosting nature to outspeed an adamant Dragonite, and I put the rest into defense. If you're confused about anything here or you want to review, you can feel free to look back at the previous chapters here. You can look at my master doc where I have videos that hopefully can explain things as well or even better than how I explain them here. But with that out of the way, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for watching and good luck with your EV building.